Let's get this show on the road. Or stationary, because I'm at my PC. And being on the road would be non-practical. Hope everyone's doing alright. What was I going to do? So, I've been thinking about the mixing mechanic and how we need to improve that. Which is going to mean I'm going to have to go back and change the sponge cake recipe. And I think starting from there and making that more flexible is a better place than trying to implement a new mechanism. I'm also just going to check my volume levels because I haven't managed to do that yet. So I'm just going to pause the music and listen back. Ooh. Okay, if the music's too quiet, just shout up. Let's shut all these up. I don't want to leave you feedback. Go away. Yeah, so at the moment I just have this weird callback thing that just takes an action. And when you complete a stage, it'll just call the action. What I'm thinking is, I don't even know if that makes sense. What I'm thinking is this should take something that implements an interface, and then we can do some things like set things up. Each stage can store its own state. Does that help? I don't know if that helps. It at least makes things more modular, which might help my brain process what the hell's going on. So I'm going to create a new folder here, and I'm going to call this stages. And this guy already implements a recipe implementation. And he lives script recipes recipe implementation. Makes sense. So I'm going to make a recipe stage implementation. I'm just going to call it recipe stage. This guy's going to be pretty boring. I've called it it's not really but it could be. Yeah, let's make it an actual interface. Right, and we're going to enforce you to make a stage. Well, let's just mark this up. So on stage complete. So nothing fancy. And then we'll go back to the sponge cake stages, and we have combined sugar and butter. Yeah, I'm worried here that we're just going to end up with a lot of classes. With crazy long names, apparently. I think it'll work. So if anything, it makes the code more modular. So now we're going to still inherit from mono behavior. In fact, it doesn't even need that, does it? And it's an recipe stage. And that's it. Then we go back here and we say I'm just gonna have to so that's what I want to do, and then change that to take an I recipe stage, and let's just comment out all these. Right, let's have a quick look around. So currently we do that, but what I'm going to do is call onStage complete. Okay. And then we can start building these back up. So we need the game session. I feel like passing the recipe through makes a lot of sense. So we go back to here, make sure we pump that through, and then we can go recipe.calculate. That might need making a bit more public. Is that right? Maybe that isn't right. You know, when you don't quite have something set up in your head. Yeah, maybe this is avoiding the problem that I'm trying to fix. So let's just go and revert that. I'm not happy with that. Ooh, what have I changed? Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. Let me just revert all this crap. See, that was me getting rid of the bowl UI stuff at the end of the last live stream. I'll be honest, I haven't got any ideas. This is annoying. So the problem is, I presume that by mixing something you've completed the recipe. That is the wrong assumption to make. So I need to remove that logic, stage 1. So this is all fine logic. We set an active bowl, we add eggs to a bowl. Right, and then this is what we do get mixture ratio. See, I still wasn't sure what the hell this actually meant. So that if I make that a question mark, then I can reset. Okay. So let's legit remove that code. So if you've mixed something, would you expect to see the ingredients still in the mixture? Or would you Or would you expect to just see the mixture? I guess the ingredients and the quantity is fine. The thing that we need to check is when you mix them, it doesn't reduce them, so the UI doesn't change. I think once you've mixed something all the way, it removes it from the bowl, which will break. Let's go to here. I do much. Right, so we're baking a cake, so I need to remember how to play. $180 how much do I need? 125. Yeah, that's close enough. Okay, so that works fine, yeah. 2 eggs. Got this multi-egging. So I roll. Okay, can't really get that one wrong. 125 grams of self-raising. I tried to throw that away and it didn't really work. Go away. Okay, let's fill them in. Okay, and that still shows the quantities. Nice, so that's not a problem. But I do want you to hide if I've picked up the ball. Yeah, I think that's more what I was probably trying to fix. So the bowl, is it the bowl that has the pick up bubble? Bowl is a pick up bubble. Do we use that anywhere? I have a pick up a bubble already. Right. Based on that, this is a tune, isn't it? So rather than saying if you've started mixing, hide the UI, I'm going to now say if the pick up bubble, which is the bowl, is picked up, just hide the UI. The same concept here. The reason I'm going to have to do that is because on the cookie recipe, you add some ingredients, mix it, add some ingredients, mix it. So I can no longer just say if the mixtures, if there's any mixing, hide stuff, because the logic doesn't work anymore. It was pretty crap logic anyway. That was when I was trying to just get the sponge cake recipe completed. So it's nice to go back and fix that. Welcome to the people in the chat as well. Shout up if you got any questions, any insults, preferably not insults. Not really a fan of them, but you know, insults. What's this complaining about? Okay. I'm also probably going to fix the cheats not working, the debug console not working correctly. I might just rewrite that one function. Just so the iteration time on this at the moment, having to add ingredients manually, is painfully slow. I think it works correctly for solid ingredients, but not for particle-based ingredients. So I should be able to go bowl.add butter 125, and that'll get that in. But I have to manually do the sugar, or else you can't mix it manually. I'll just sling that in. To be fair, this should work now. Where did that sugar just go? See ya. So I'm looking at it, I get the UI, but as soon as I pick up this bowl, it goes away. I put it back down, it comes back. Look at that, it's glorious. What? Okay, so now the other thing that might be weird is if you've added everything to it.
Then if I turn it upside down, it's meant to pour all the ingredients out. Will it? Yeah, so I've accidentally emptied all the ingredients. And if I click step, then I get F. What happens if I then try and mix that? Add 100, so if I add... add the flour. In that loop. If I mix this, I've dropped my spoon. That's going to tell me that, okay, because the ingredients have been removed, when I mix it, I can't mix it. So that'll force that to be an F. I can't pour it out, that's an F. I can't cook it, so then you'll fail. So if you empty the ingredients, you fail. That's good. That's what I expect. Without re-adding the ingredients. Okay, let's just restart that. Do I need to test anything else? No, I think that worked, didn't it? I also just got a crash then. An error, sorry. I guess the game session needs updating when you're restarting. Because it's fine now. Yeah, let's get that tiny change submitted. It's this one. So, don't learn how to type. Don't hide the bowl quantities UI on mix, but hide it on bowl pickup. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Right, so now let's go back to cookies. And think. So what do? We combine butter and sugars and mix. So to start with, the only thing we care about is the one stage. Do I use this elsewhere? Then I set the quantity when you're mixing. And then we add the eggs. See, so what I'm thinking is if I then set the old stage, which is this, back to null, but we need to kind of set like a global offset. Okay, so let's go have a look at this. Let's not do that, but let's instead say stage contribution to mixture. It's like offsetting, re-offset. Mixture offset plus equals that. And then we set that to a private float, and that defaults to nothing. Whoops. So the mixture offset, I don't need to default that because we're always going to initialize it. When we calculate this, so that's the sum of the ratios divided by how many there were, plus the offset, I think. So when we've completed this, we're going to re-offset, so if that was like a 1. But it also means that here, if you could in theory get that to a 1, which would mean the mixture would go all the way, so I need to then apply the weighting of it. So let's just, for the sake of argument, say putting all that in, it equates to half of it. Thank you for the follow there, Slayerdarth. Welcome to the baking crew. The baking crew's not a thing. I've literally just made them words up. But yes, thank you for following. Hope you enjoy the stream. Any questions? Ask them. That's what questions are for, I guess. And if anything that I do is weird, it probably is. And I apologise. I forget what I was up to now. Yeah, so adding that, so the total mixture is all the ingredients combined is a value of 1. And I want to add, in this case, 3 of the ingredients, mix them together. And if you, in theory, got that all of them 100% correct, is that even right? See, because if you put too much in, then you're going to end up with too little. Yeah, because it's a ratio of accuracy. So that's probably the wrong thing to, let me just put a comment in here. It's Unity, what do you expect? C#'s alright. It does its job. What is annoying is when you're sat back in Unity at the moment, because it's using the old mono libraries, we don't get C#6 or anything nice. So I keep writing, well, wanting to write things, and doing my variable in here to print things out, and I can't do stuff like that. And I use ReSharper, so it's graying out some of these things that I actually need. I presume you're a programmer mentioning C#. Let's see if that works.
Just a minute, you're complaining about C# and you use PHP? Deary me. See, what I normally do here is I do something like that. Oops. But again, that's a new C# feature, so I can't do that. That basically means if this equates to not null, return yourself, otherwise return 0. But instead, what I'll have to do is store it in a temporary variable, so we don't need 2 map lookups. And then do that. Technically that. And if we're going mental, we can do that. I'm also going to do that. Oh no, you should in an office flood. As you see, that's weird because where I work, our offices are not. Well, I'm presuming flood. You mean like the entire office was flooded, and not just someone left a tap on. So it wouldn't have mattered what floor you were on. I've also never been a fan of Mac. I know it's just one of the things that every time I've tried to use Mac, I've gone, but why don't I just use Windows? I've just always used Windows. And I suppose it's what you're used to. It's the same like Android versus iPhone. I would imagine iPhone's perfectly fine. Oh, just your room. Oh no. Rip room. Yeah, I remember a friend of mine worked for a games company, and their entire office is flooded. You know, we're talking all dev machines, PS4s, Xbox dev kits, and it was near like a river, and the river burst its banks and just nuked everything. Water and electrics don't go well. So I use for my servers and at work for all the servers we use Ubuntu, and I can see the power of it. And sometimes it is nice to just like a lot of people that I work with end up using the desktop versions of things to have a GUI, whereas just, I must admit I'm more of a Bash man when I get into it. Right, that should compile at least. Should compile. Yeah, that is always fun. The same goes the inverse as well, though. Sometimes a really useful tool on Windows you can't get on Linux. That being said, most things these days are getting more cross-platform. Everyone's more cross-platform, apart from Apple. Apple don't care. Apple make money. But a lot of the Windows stuff these days are driven towards open source and cross-platform, which I never thought I'd see from Microsoft. There must be some deep-seated thing they're trying to achieve. Maybe they think they can just rule the world if they rule all the operating systems. That is also true, that the lightweightness of Linux, just getting it, you can get it on a tiny USB stick. It's insane. And then Windows is like minimum requirement 16 gig. I bet you can't get anything on 16 gig. Have Apple actually done anything open source?
They must have done something, right? I forgot how to make cookies. 225 grams of butter. I can cheat for that. But I can't cheat for sugar or sugar. I've accidentally caught it. I bet I can do that again. Go away. Apparently, it's thundering and lightning. Yeah. I used to be good at pouring the things in this game. Right, then mix. Right, I got a B. But hopefully if I still look at this, I still have it. Okay, that's a good start. Then add 2 eggs. Can it? Come on. Good boy. There we go. Oh, I missed it. Look at that. So hopefully this will still allow me to add things. Add an egg. Nice. Two eggs. Beats 2 eggs into the mixture. Now does that mean I have to mix it? It does, doesn't it? I presume I should use a whisk really for optimum beatage. Okay, that's not mixing. So why is that not mixing? Come on, attach please. So I would imagine the can. Whoa. Can mix eggs. Is that getting called? It's getting called. Well, that's interesting. Oh, do I have to specify 2 eggs? I can't remember how this works, if I'm honest. Cake. Sponge cake. Can. Whoa. Can mix. See, I say butter egg. Oh, okay, so I'm saying get all the ingredients from the ingredients that I have listed. So I also need to say you need butter to be able to mix. So I need the previous ingredients as well as my current ingredients. That's fine. I can do that. So it's an accumulative quantitative value. Which I guess is correct. You wouldn't be able to just magically start doing stuff. Let's get all that in. So that will set that quantity. But that should be set to the current value anyway, so it should increase. I think. Is that built? No, still building. And go. So if this works, I'll check in this little bit. It's not a fully working cookie recipe, but I want to fix the debug command like today, hopefully. Just because the iteration speed is abysmal if I have to put the ingredients in myself. It's kind of the point of the debug console, to try and speed up debug time. Thus the name debug console. Who'd have funked it? Am I looking at the ceiling? Get the cookies loaded. I wish I knew why it was so much slower in the editor. I think it's something to do with initializing the prefabs, and I use prefabs heavily. I think when you export the exe, it can optimize and cache a lot of the stuff. But in the editor, it has to just live evaluate what the hell's going on. I will put in butter manually just to make sure that it is working legit. I've just dropped the knife. Let's try that again. Oh, I'm not going to be able to put that at a right angle now. Oh, I did, like a boss. Let's carefully levitate that butter in my hand. That wasn't far off, was it? Nice. Oh, shit. The flour in. Nope, sugar in. I know what I'm doing, honest. 175, wasn't it? That'll do. And then the brown sugar. Ooh, careful. That'll do. 172. And then mix. I also need to make it so that particles appear inside the bowl. Okay. Mixed. Boom. A bee. One egg. 2 eggs. I'm out of flour. I've knocked it over. 1 egg. 2 eggs. Pick up my spoon. Mix them in. That worked, didn't it? We got a little bit more mixture. I want to step through this next bit with a debugger just to make sure that the numbers come out correct. I can't see why they wouldn't. So inside the cookie recipe, we're going to hit somewhere around here when I click here. Okay, so we should have an active bowl, which we do, and we're going to get the number of eggs, which is 2. We want it to have 2, so we have an egg ratio of 1. I'm going to get the mix ratio of 1. So that's should give me an A. Look at that. Got an A. Yeah, screw you, Mrs. I can't remember what her name was that used to tell me I couldn't cook. Pfft, I'm making a game about baking. Tell me I can't cook. Okay, so now I need to change that to be that one. But I have an A. This is actually working, guys. So that needs to be... Oops, need to stop that. I'm going to start that. That was incrementative, wasn't it? Plus equals, yeah. So now I've reset the base offline, and we're going to say... So I think the next stage as well involves adding things. Add flour to bowl and mix. So we'll set that to 0. I'm going to drop that to 0.4. And the next one I'll do a 0.25, and then the I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just wiggling my fingers. The chocolate chips I'll set to 0.1. But as I say, I'm gonna check that in, and I'm gonna fix the debug commands so that I can iterate on this much faster. Add the ability to offset a mixture ratio, allowing partial mixes throughout a recipe. Cookie recipe. Full implements first 2 stages. Accounting for 0.65. Let's go for percentage. 65% of the total possible mixture amount. And that's it. Right, so the place we're having a problem is in the bowl. We have a function somewhere in here. Here, bowl.add. So this is just garbage what I've run. So I think I'm going to comment it out. Right, so we get the info. What's the info? What is one of these? it's just a type, a template, and a logo. Right. So what's this next line doing? If we find an existing one and it's breakable, we break it until we find the actual ingredient. Okay. Right, then we make a new ingredient. We set its type and its weight. The weight's what we're passing through. If an existing one already exists, this is what I don't get. This bit of code here, I don't even remember writing it. So if we already have an ingredient and we set the new one to have the weight of the old one, oh, that's the weight type, not the weight. So we're just copying across some information. Right, existing is the wrong name for that. It's more like a template, isn't it? So let's just rename that to template ingredient. Okay, so if the template ingredient is not equal to null, we update all the information for that. We then position the ingredient. That's the thing that we don't actually ever... Oh, because it'll be invisible, it won't have... There could be some more stuff we can do there. So the main problem becomes on here, where we call add ingredient to bowl. That's wrong. So what am I currently wrapping? Oh, I've got lost. Here we go. So we're wrapping in this. So I'm going to make a new little method. Fake add particle ingredient. Ingredient type. And an amount. Right, and if the ingredient type is, let's switch that actually. Switch it up. So if it's brown sugar or it's normal sugar, sugar. Spelling is hard. Or it's flour, or it's self-raising flour, or it's chocolate chips, or it's... I think that's everything. Is milk a particle? It will be. Then we want to do that. I'll just default the rest. To do that. It's not going to take... I'm not sure what that's going to take. We might have to do like a lot of this. Particle bowl enter. We just say get the. Can we pass in an ingredient? Ooh, what's that? So it's an ingredient. And then what do we use particles for? It's just a count. So in fact, I could just say int number of I'll be right back. I'll be back in 1 second. Someone's at the door. Oh, sorry about that. Right, where were we? Number of particles. And then just change that to be number of particles. And I can get rid of this weird, well not weird, this debug only version. And we can call ingredient number of particles. Now this becomes interesting. I'm going to write 1. We need to find all references of that because I've now broken that. It needs to be dot count. So here we set the amount to be that times that. So we have the target amount, which is weight. So it's weight divided by weight per particle. It's not going to be 100% accurate. We're going to end up being a little bit off there. We'll be close enough. That should add everything correctly, I think. Be nice if an ingredient knew that it was a particle. It's kind of a bit weird to have this list in a debug command. Maybe I should store that on the item. If I look at the butter, it's an ingredient. Oh, weight type, solid. Okay, so what's a sugar? See, that's weight type is solid. Because I think an egg is an item, isn't it? The weight type actually means if it's in kilograms or milliliters or an egg. So you'd need a separate flag to say that it's. And then the other way I guess I could do it is on this, if I just make a public method. Can I do that? Is particle ingredient? I think I can do that, can I? This isn't C++. What am I doing? It'd just be nice to keep everything together. Can I do a method extension? Oh, you can. Yeah, of course I can. Idiot. Is particle ingredient. And then I remove this weird thing up here. But on this we just put return true. Put that into type. Here we put return false. Done. Then we go back to here. And now we go if ingredient type is particle ingredient, do that, else do that. So the reason that's slightly preferred, I'm still not happy, is that this enum, when I edit it, you can see blatantly below that there's a map that I need to update. This puts the code together. I can try and see. I'm tempted to reorganize that, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna leave it alone. Leave it alone. Right, let's let that build again. Attach the debugger, enter a debug command for both, and see what happens, I guess. Nope, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. Okay. That should load up. I'll attach the debugger. Tune. Single player. That kitchen. Cookies. Right. So I'm gonna go bool.add butter 225. We're gonna hit a breakpoint. It's gonna make my debug. We've got a template, so we're gonna copy some information across. So I wonder if we can initialize from that, and then we'll actually get the 3D model and stuff as well. I doesn't really help though. And then this is going to say, nope, you're not a particle ingredient, so we'll just add you normally. So if I go and look at the bowl, we get 225. Now if I go bowl, add sugar, 175, we hit the same breakpoint. Get the information, but this time we're going to say, oh yeah, you're a particle. We're going to say we want 175, it's worth 1, so we want 175. Right, and then if I go bowl dot add brown sugar 175, same thing should work, so let's get rid of that. So it's added everything nicely. Now the bit that didn't used to work was the can mix butter and sugars. This would say that you didn't have the particle ingredients because, well, you didn't. So if I grab a spoon, and give a step into here, it should say I have butter and I have nice sugar and brown sugar. I've dropped my bloody thing. Woo. Cool, so that's now actually doing things correctly, which means I can then mix. Right. And if I complete the stage, should be able to go bowl dot add egg 2. Now I think there's 2 eggs in there. I should better mix them. And do that. Cool, so that's now registering everything correctly. Let's get that submitted. That's good work. Ding, what did I change in there? Add that. Upgrade that, yeah. So fix the debug console command for ingredients. Now respect. Now get added to the correct list depending on if they are particle based or not. Cool. Now we can get back to doing the recipe. So on add flour and mix. So we can basically copy this. We're going to get the first one that's got, this is plain flour or self-raising, I can't remember. I presume it's plain flour. So we're going to need one of these. We're going to need a target flour amount. And I'm going to have to look up the recipe. Sign into my bug tracker.
and then this is the recipe we're using. So it is 350 grams. Fancy. I need them open. And that's also a float. So we want that. Okay, we want plain flour, and then we've got a bowl. We want to get the plain flour, and that's the flour amount, flour ratio, and that's add flour to bowl and mix. Reset that, and then that's add chocolate chips. Okay. Then this needs updating. Can mix flour. Can mix eggs. Probably just going to duplicate this as well. Once I've got all this written out and in a nice way, I'll probably go through and refactor it back. There's no reason to, because most of this code's duplicated, so we can tidy up. So we now want all of these and plain flour. And we want, whoops, that. Oh, I spelled amount silly there, aren't I? Just gotta fix that before I forget. Update that. Okay, so that should give me 0.1 left for the chocolate chips. Do I go mad and write the chocolate chips one straight away? No, let's test that. I'm not mad. That should allow me to get to the point where we have a cookie mixture. It just doesn't have chocolate chips in. So a lot of this is very similar. I feel like I should wrap that into get bowl for ingredient type. Oops. So I don't think I do anything fancy. Even here, we're just doing a multitude of them. So once I've done this, it's the chocolate chips that need to go in. It's then going to be getting the mixture out. So basically what you need to do is grab handfuls of the dough, put them on a baking tray. I don't have a model for a baking tray, so that's probably needs doing. And then pulling clumps out is going to be fun. I'll probably just model a deformed ball, and when you pull it out, just reduce the mixture amount by n. Just have them cookie shapes, I guess. Okay, so we can go bowl, add butter
225 bowl, add sugar. 175 bowl, add sugar, no, brown sugar. 175. Should be able to do bowl mix as well. But I don't want to break this, so let's just manually mix. Okay, that's my little bit of mixture. I feel like a console command to complete a stage as well would be useful. Bowl, add egg 2, and then mix that in. Okay. Gradually add 50 grams of flour to the bowl and mix until 350 grams. So, okay, so this is where I've gone off peak. At the moment it'll just be bowl, add plain flour 350. Whoops. Which is wrong. Get to me spoon, put it miles away. That should allow me. Okay, we have a typod. Why is target flour amount? That'd do it. That's going to be in here on a cookie. That needs to be 350. Nice. And should allow me to do that, which will give me an A. Right, but that needs updating to be gradually. So that the target flour amount's fine, but oh, I need to update that in here. Whew, just random sneezes from now. Right, upgrade that to 350. That's fine. Public float flour increment amount equals 50. I'm going to call that target. So I have no idea how this is going to work either. So that only gets called at the end, so that's
So I guess I need to store somewhere the increment accuracy, and then just multiply that. Because we'll have this ratio and the mix ratio, and then if I times that by like a scalar for if you did it in 1, it's to 0. So it's the can mix. So it's that times flour increment index. And at the end of the butter one, to be fair, we can just nuke it here. Private int, and then flour increment ratio 0. So this is a similar thing. This is where my idea earlier of splitting these into an actual interface would have been cool, because then this would be sort of isolated to itself. So if the ratio was 1, then we have 1. If it's not 1, so that needs to be nullable, I guess. Or, to be fair, we can just say if m flour increment ratio, nope, index is 0, then our ratio is our flour ratio. I'll do this plus equal it and then divide by the target increment account. Yeah. So if we got 1s all the way, and then at the end we take that the increment accuracy is going to be equal to that, which can be like 10, divided by the actual number of steps, which will be target flour amount divided by target flour increment amount. So if you were meant to, so in this case it'll be 7. So if you've got 7 divided by 7, you've got 1, times it by that. In fact, if we do calculate ingredient ratio, which isn't technically right, we're going to say we were meant to have that divided by that. Alright, this is what we actually had. And then we'll have an increment accuracy. Right, let's just rethink that through. So if you were 100% accurate every time, you'd have added 50 grams 7 times. So your I put float, not flour. That's why I couldn't work out. Floor. I've just completely spelled that wrong. Right. So that would mean 7, and 7 is accurate 7, so that'd be 1. If, for example, you did 50, 100, and then 50 and all the rest, you'd get a ratio of 6, which would mean you'd be
6/7 accurate. And that, yeah, I think that works. There's one way to find out. Does that sound right? So that'd be 50. So the first time you come along, you put. Ooh, no, it's that plus 1, isn't it? That was close. So for the first index of 0, yeah, then it'll be, you're meant to get 50, the second one will be 100, 150. I think that works. So then in theory I should now be able to add the butter, add the sugars and mix, complete the stage, add 2 eggs, mix, complete the stage, and then add 50 grams of of plain flour, mix, and do that 7 times. Because if that ratio gets really low, it'll do, yeah, that should work. It seems really simple, which makes me think it's not going to work. One way to find out, I guess, and that's to test it. It's kind of the point. Now, should I test it properly and do it all manually, or shall I use the debug commands to add the ingredients? I think once I get up to the flour, I'll start doing it manually. But I know the first 2 stages are working, so let's skip them by doing a bowl, add butter, 225, bowl, add sugar, 175, bowl, add brown sugar, 175. So it's added my stuff. Mix that up. Okay. And that's the first stage complete. 2 eggs, bowl, add egg, 2. We got 2 eggs in there now. Tell you what, this is a bit of a tune, isn't it? Mix that in. Oh, get out of that. Right. Add gradually. Is that how you spell that? I might have misspelled that. Add 50 grams of flour to the bowl and mix until you've added 350 grams. Okay, so there's 50 grams. I feel like I can boss this. You ready for this, guys? Ready for these pro skills? I'm gonna hold the flour and I'm gonna mix it at the same time. How can you have a pudding if you don't eat your meat? Right. Add another 50 grams. So I don't think I'm resetting the ratio correctly. For the mixture. I don't even know if this feels right. This won't work because that will get cold over and over. Let's put a breakpoint in here. I think that hasn't worked at all. It doesn't make any sense. I have a feeling that this ratio is going to be like 1,000,007. Because this code up here doesn't get called once. This gets called over and over and over. So flour amount 380, flour ratio 0.9 because I was meant to get 350, mix ratio 1. We've mixed it, but see that's 12.4. Yes. I mean, I'll get a grade, but it's just wrong. How do I fix that? So that bit doesn't make sense. It's this guy here. It's just wrong. Let's quickly take that out and rethink that. Everything else worked fine. Them values got calculated correctly. This bit is just bollocks. So the flour amount is fine. I guess that is just target flour amount, because by the end I want full. I wonder if storing it as a map would make more sense. So if I store a dictionary of flour amount, is it just maybe it's just a hash set. Flour increments. And then down here, we just add flour amount. Because I think this only gets called when you have a spoon in there. So it'll just keep trying to add the same thing, but unless you're pouring flour at the same time, then this is going to add 6,000,001 things to this. Right, and then we have a increment ratio. I'm going to go for each entry in here to the expected. That doesn't work. Hee hee hee, this is fun, isn't it? So we just need a increment index as well, which I guess starts at 1. And then increment ratio plus equals calculate ingredient ratio, which is I have entry I expect target flour increment amount times increment index. Okay, so that gives me the total sum of our entire accuracy of everything. Right. But then the increment ratio is going to be equal to, I'm going to pass itself into itself. So what I'd expect is that to be 7, which is equal to target flour amount divided by target increment amount. So if that's like 609 because you've put crap tons of flour in, then that'll get nuked. Right? That makes sense. Let that build. Let's check that out. Will that work? I think that works, right? Because I think that only updates when you put the spoon in. A hash set is a unique list of entries, so it should just attempt to add the same thing over and over again, which obviously won't do anything. So by the end of it, you should end up with 7 entries, if you've done it accurately, at 50 gram increments. Right? Maybe? I have no bloody idea. I'm making this up. Let's cheat. Bowl, add butter, 225. Bowl, add sugar, 175. Bowl, add brown sugar, 175. Just for the sake of testing, bowl.mix. Bowl, add egg 2. Bowl.mix. Okay, see, by doing that though, I've kind of ballsed up how this looks. Let's attach the debugger before I forget. I might even lob a breakpoint in here. Right, get the flour. Get the spoon. Alright, attempt to pour in 50 grams. Then we hit our right point. So we're going to get flour amount 56. And then this should give me one entry. Wrong one. A 56. Dropped my spoon. Right, and I'll put the other one back in. And I'm going to have to. Whoa. Okay. And you get that to 200 basically. Ah, crapper. Ooh. What's going on with the flour here? Why does it stop working? Matte flour. Crap. Restock flour. I can't remember what I'm up to. Okay. Will this have worked? Be interested to see how many flour increments we have. 7, which is the right number. And we have 56, 109, 194. That should have been 150, but I messed up. That's me. 204, 300, 350. So we have a pretty accurate, 99% accurate on the flour, and we mixed it like a mofo. Oh, I forgot to increment that. Can I like fake this? It's so what did that give me? An A. Yeah, so if I'd have incremented that, then that would have worked. I've done it. That worked. Nice. I just forgot to go like that. So that's actually working. Now it won't take 2 seconds now, because that was the most complicated bit, to go like chocolate chips. On add chocolate chips and mix. Mix. I'll take this one because it's a bit simpler. Blah 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 blah. Get some chocolate chips. Chips amount. Chips ratio. Add chocolate chips and mix. I'm actually done at that point, but so that's not actually required. Actually, no, let's do that, and then the offset is set, and then I can just decrement it down. That needs to be target chocolate chips amount. It obviously doesn't exist. I think it's 100 grams. Oop. But we've got the recipe here. It is 350. Well, I'm going to drop that to 200. I'm taking artistic influence here. Okay. And then we need to implement this. Can mix chocolate chips. Go down here, duplicate that code. And we now have an ingredient type of chocolate chips that you need. We don't care about that. That's chocolate chips. We did have that at 0.1. Chips ratio. Whoops. I think that will work. Let's double check that the cookie recipe implementation has got that set up right. Let's let it build. And 200 grams for the chocolate chips. Yep, looks good. That's all done. Right, so this is probably the last test because I've got 5 minutes left and then I'm going to. So I will legit bake the cookies, and we'll go from there, I guess. The next plan is to stream on Friday, 4 till 6 again. Trying to keep that schedule up, but we'll see. To be fair, this is the most progress I've made on this game in a long time. Also, I don't know if anyone noticed that then, but if you look at the clock in game, it's real time. So it's currently 5 to 6, and in game, if it ever loads, come on, you can see it's 5 to 6. And also the sun setting because it's 5 to 6 and cloudy, and where I am in the world right now, it's cloudy and rainy and the sun setting. Okay, first things first, we need some butter. Butter. 225 grams. Now, I actually suck at this. So let's just dice it up a little. And then move the knife away. What have we got here? This is something that needs improving on the UI because looking at these is impossible. There's 190 and a 45. That's about 225, right? I think it was that. Is it that end one that's 45? 54. Could have sworn there was a 45. Oh, it's 145. Let's take these two. So we bomb both of these into here. That's almost 225. That wasn't bad going. Sugar. The lighting doesn't work very well on these text labels when it's this time of day. I need to have a look at that as well. So we want 175 grams of this. Oops, peed it everywhere. 175. A bit premature. 175. I mean, I'll take that. Take that every day, and then put the sugar safely in the sink. So where else do you keep your sugar? Grab some brown sugar. Get that up to 175. Ooh, slow it down. Ooh. Oh, look at that. This is the best run I've ever done. Put that nice and safe as well. And then we need to mix that up. I think we need to mix it up. Combine, then mix. Looks like the butter's fallen at the bottom of the bowl as well. She's good. Oops. Okay, we make a little mixture there. And we complete that. 2 eggs. Let's grab these 2 eggs. There's 1. There's 2. I'm just wondering if I've got the graphics quality set a little low, which is why the lighting looks a bit weird. 1 egg. So we'll just check that once I put this in. Options, video. No, it's set to fantastic. Deck, it looks really bad in. Oh god, it does. Looks pretty bad in both of them. Now I need to mix that. It's a bit. Oh, I've made that worse, haven't I? Go on, let's go for a left-handed mix. Get me spoon lined up. Ooh, cheeky spoon. There we go. We got the spoon. Let's move that arm out of the way a little. And then get that a mix. Drop my spoon. Okay, eggs in. And then gradually add 50 grams of flour. So this is the bit that I've been working on today. In fact, it's 6, so I'm gonna just cheat through this. Bowl, add plain flour, 50. Annoyingly, I still have to mix it. Bowl, add 50. Bowl, add 50. You get the idea. It's nice how the mixture goes up a little bit each time. Ooh, calm it down. Yeah. Okay, let's take my spoon for a walk. Sure, I should get an A for that. Yeah. And then 350 grams of chocolate chips. Where are the chocolate chips gone? They're over here. Do I even have to mix them? I don't specify you have to mix them, but I feel like you should have to mix the chocolate chips in, or else you just have chocolate chips sat on top of your cookies. How much was it? 200 grams? Calm it. $200 amount of chocolate chips. Yeah, 200 grams sounds like a lot of chocolate chips still. Can I get more chocolate chips? Is it in the fridge, chocolate chips? Yeah. There we go. And I think I set in the code that you have to mix, even though the instructions tell you don't. So let's give that a quick. Oh, I've dropped my spoon. Oh shit. We're okay. Get that little wang around in there. That's how we mix, isn't it? Oh, thank you for the follow. Oh, these names. I mean, I'm terrible at English at the best of days. Turkisa? Sorry if I just butchered that. Thank you for the follow. So hopefully that gives me an A. Now the next bit of the recipe hasn't been done yet. So that's as far as you can get. But we're almost there. We're over the halfway mark. So we need to model a baking tray and make it so I can grab balls. So what I'm thinking is you'd put your hand in and then just grab, or you end up grabbing the ball. Well, that's interesting. Okay, that's going to need some thought as well. But I think that's the best way, is just go like that and you end up pulling little balls of mixture out and then go and put them on a baking tray. Put the baking tray in the oven, which you should still be able to do, yeah. And then wait 9 to 11 minutes. How big were the console commands? Sorry, I missed that chat message. So you can see everything. It's great because that's actually an enum in the code, so I'm bound to an enum, and it auto-completes anytime I've got any entry. But it also takes up the majority of the screen. I get that. But on that note, I'm going to have to end the stream now. I normally stream 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, between 4 PM and 6 PM GMT. And it's just gone 6, as you can tell by the clock in game. So I'm going to have to go get some food and do life things. But I think we've made great progress today. Thanks for joining, thanks for the follows, and I'll see you on Friday.